Stop motion movies, iPads, modeling clay, paper mache, landforms, and China. What do these things have in common? A lot in this art unit I created for my students. My name is Cicely Cable, and I teach art to kindergarten through 5th grade at 2 different elementary schools in western North Carolina. My goal and passion in teaching has become cultivating 21st century learners that have an understanding and appreciation for our world and cultures and traditions that are different from their own. I strive to create a classroom environment where students can work collaboratively to learn and showcase critical thinking skills while they learn to think globally. For my capstone, I had 2 separate lesson plans that came together to create one unit. I chose to focus on the country of China for this unit, and I started out with the following goals for my students. I wanted my students to learn about the different festivals celebrated in China and create a stop-motion claymation movie about those festivals. Through this project, I wanted my students to appreciate these different celebrations. I also wanted my students to learn about different landforms and architecture in China and develop an appreciation for the unique characteristics this country has to offer by creating a 3D map of China. Throughout this unit, I chose to focus on cultivating attitudes using strong collaboration efforts. My 5th graders display a strong sense of curiosity about other cultures. They were very interested in learning about the history and traditions behind the Chinese festivals that are celebrated. They were also very interested and intrigued in learning about the history and design of the Chinese pagodas. My students also worked within small groups to try new things. In the first lesson, students worked together to create their own scripts about the different Chinese festivals. They also worked in groups to capture and put together their stop-motion movies using the iMotion app and the iPads. In the second lesson to the unit, students worked in groups to create landforms using the paper mache technique to make their China scale model. Each group had a different section of China to create, and everything about both of these projects emphasized new experiences for students and emphasized design concepts. Students designed 3D printed pieces, construction paper scenes, modeling clay characters, and paper mache landforms. My students also learned valuable skills through this unit because of this collaboration. My classes gained experience in leading and following and on group activities, as each student was responsible for completing different parts of their activity and working with their group to delegate and decide who would do what part.
In China, they have many legends that explain certain things. The legend of Nian says that Nian had razor-sharp claws and razor-sharp teeth. On the new moon is when he came out and he terrorized the villages. Even the animals. One day a wise man came out and told them how to scare away Nian by making loud noises using fire and color red. On the next new moon, Nian came and they fought back, and Nian ran and never came back. So today the Chinese celebrate the Chinese New Year with loud celebrations, vibrant red decorations, and bright lit fireworks.
This group, what are you building? Hills. And you're building?
These are the Himalaya Mountains, and these are rolling hills.
Okay, rolling hills.
These are the deserts.
Okay, point to the places that are the deserts. So the deserts would be actually the flat places around, yes. Okay. And what's around the deserts?
Around the deserts is flat mountains.
Flat mountains, so plateaus. All right. Okay, next group.
Deserts.
The deserts. Okay.
Mountains and hills mostly.
Mountains and hills. Okay. We are painting on our topographic 3D map. So I'm going to have some students tell you what colors they're painting and what sections they are. So you want to show the deserts?
This is the desert, and they're light green.
Light green. Okay, that's the Gobi Desert. All right. What about the mountains? What colors?
These are all of the mountains, and they're colored dark green.
Dark green. Okay, and what's the highest mountains?
The Himalayas.
The Himalayas. All right, so they're dark green. What about plateaus?
The plateaus are right here, and they're yellow-green.
Okay, yellow-green, so there's a lot of plateaus. And hills.
They're right here, and they're just regular green.
Okay, so there's different hills in the spaces. So we did different colors to show the different landforms. My students were able to combine information from diverse resources to create a single narrative. Students researched the different Chinese festivals, landforms found in China, and certain landmarks to create their projects. They used National Geographic, internet sites, iPads, Prezi presentations, and my Chinese educator friend Cherry via WeChat as a resource. Another important skill my 5th graders worked on under the learning framework is that children work with models and simulations to evaluate problems, pose and test solutions, and determine the best solution to a problem. Under knowledge, the learning framework suggests that children analyze and interpret maps to describe patterns of Earth's physical and cultural features. This was a large part of Lesson 2 from this unit as students analyze maps to build landforms. By focusing on these attitudes, skills, and types of knowledge during this unit, I believe my students were able to gain a deep appreciation, understanding, and connection to a completely different culture and landscape from their own. Because of this unit, my kids have really been more excited to learn about other cultures different from their own. We recently had a curriculum night at our school, and families and parents were able to come in and they viewed the students' stop-motion movies, and I believe they walked away with a greater understanding and appreciation of other cultures and celebrations. As a direct result of this class, as an educator, I want to try to be a more complete educator by incorporating more of the scales into my lessons. I usually have focused on cultural and historical, but now I want to focus more on other ones such as political, ecological, geological, and spatial scales, and I think that's really going to help me moving forward to be a more complete educator.